Beehive just launched a bunch of new features, and what's really interesting to me about this is that it's changing who their customer is. Now, you could say that this was always where Beehive is heading, but a lot of people have thought about Beehive in comparison to Substack and Patreon, and I no longer think that that is the comparison. Beehive, with this release, is saying, we're not here to serve the newsletter writer who just wants a simple start and doesn't really want to be in control of their brand. We're here for the media company. Looking at businesses like Oliver Darcy's Status, which launched on Beehive last year. They're looking at Ryan Broderick, who runs Garbage Day. They're looking at Matt Brown, who runs Extra Points. And they're seeing that these media businesses have formed around their newsletters. So they're not just running a newsletter now, they're running podcasts. In Matt Brown's case, he's got games. Other folks have video series. People are doing events, sponsorships. There's way more to the business than just newsletters. And so I think this is a really interesting release to follow. One, because if you're using Beehive, they've created a bunch of new capabilities for you in terms of podcast integration, in terms of a digital product store. They've added a really nice analytics view that you're going to love if you've been suffering through Google Analytics. That looks a lot like Fathom and Plausible. If you've ever used one of those tools, you can get rid of a lot of your other subscriptions if you want to, things like Linktree, things like Podpage. They're really trying to provide more tooling for the multi-channel media business. The other thing I think is interesting is that they're adding more revenue streams. By introducing digital products, they're allowing you to make money from coaching calls or digital downloads or link access, selling things like Notion templates, Airtable templates, classes even. Beehive has 4 different monetization streams that are built in. They have their ad network, they have paid subscriptions, they have boosts, which is you advertising other newsletters, and now they have digital products. The features themselves are interesting, but I think moreover, this trend that we're no longer in a single channel media entrepreneur space. It's no longer, I have a podcast, I have a newsletter. It's, I'm building a media brand. I think this is also really interesting for entrepreneurs who are media heavy in their marketing. So if you are someone who has a podcast and a newsletter, but maybe you don't make your business, you don't make your money from media, it's still really interesting for you because you can now tie it all together into one space and you can make offers to that audience to monetize some of that media, or even, make low budget offers, coaching calls and digital downloads and things like that, that then lead into maybe a bigger sale for you. The only people I think are left behind in this release are people who wanted a quick start, who are, maybe a little bit shy about media and aren't really wanting to control a lot, or aren't that business savvy or tech savvy, and they just want like a really simple way to get some writing out there. I think those folks are still better served on other platforms. But Beehive is making a big swing here. They're going for ambitious media companies. They want to serve media brands that want to do something bigger than just a newsletter.